Hello there. Thanks a lot for coming by PosterCentral.com's video blog today. I'm Pete Howard, and boy, this piece is small, but is it ever powerful. Elvis Presley in the summer of 1957, right there at the peak of his king of rock and roll powers in the 1950s. Check it out. In person, Elvis Presley and his all-star show at famous 6 Seattle Stadium, Sunday, September 1st. Now the year is not given, but it is 1957. And then it says 8:30 p.m. The reason the time's important is that this was not Elvis's only show of the day. He actually played a 2 p.m. matinee 30 miles to the south in Tacoma, Washington. But for some reason, I guess they didn't want to make a combo poster, even though this 5-date Pacific Northwest tour had the same tour manager and promoter. But you have just this poster for the Seattle dates. Tickets were as cheap as $1.50. Look at that, to see the reigning king of rock and roll. Also priced at $2.50 and $3.50. Tickets at Sherman Clay. That was a major musical instrument chain of the day. So, this poster is made of cardboard and measures only 11 by 12 inches, as it is framed here. As you can see, it's rather closely cropped down there at the bottom, and there may actually be a reason for that. Interesting story. Seattle was a very heavy union labor town, and a major scandal with the unions had just erupted this summer, leaving the public really pissed off at the misappropriation of union funds. It always boils down to money, right? So if these concert posters had gone up with a union printer's bug on them, they could have easily just been torn down in anger and not had a chance to do their job. In Seattle, people were really angry at the unions this summer. So either the union, this particular printer, agreed to just run it without their credit down at the bottom, or it's possible, judging from this close crop, that the poster was run normally with the union credit and the promoter chose to just trim it off before putting up the posters around town. But, of course, all of this is informed speculation, other than the union unrest in Seattle that summer, which is well documented. Boy, talk about well documented. Elvis was killing him this year, I'll tell you. 1957 Teddy Bear, right now, was in the national top 5, and it had been #1 for almost 2 months. And that was preceded by All Shook Up, which was #1 for 2 months, and preceded by Too Much, which was #1 for almost a month. Isn't this all a bit too much? Well, Teddy Bear was followed after this then by Jailhouse Rock, which was #1 for almost 2 months. I'm sounding like a broken record, a broken Elvis record. Well, that adds up to 26 weeks at #1 in 1957, fully half the year, not on the charts, not in the top 10, half the year at the very, very top of the charts. Even the Beatles never touched that. In 1964, you know, when they had the top 5 records at Billboard and stuff, they just had about 18 weeks at #1 for the entire year. I mean, how can you be any bigger than Elvis in 1957? Just crazy. Now, this is a bit heavy. I might put it down for a second because in the audience that night was a 14-year-old Seattle native at this very Elvis show, an aspiring guitar player dreaming of stardom himself someday, and his name was James Marshall, you know what's coming? Hendrix. That's right. And so, a few months later, the schoolboy drew this, look at this, isn't this nice? Drew a memory of the concert he had attended. Look at this. This is really fun. There's Elvis with a lot of song titles all around him. Some recognizable Elvis songs, and some you're not quite sure what he wrote. But boy, what a fun original piece of artwork. Of course, I don't need to tell you this is just a copy, you know, just a photo of it, or it's not the real thing. That would be a separate blog, I think, wouldn't it? But look at that, isn't that fun? Jimi Hendrix attending this show and then drawing this as a memory afterwards. I'm just so glad it was saved. Wow. So, as I said earlier, it's a small piece, but boy, it really packs a powerful wallop. Elvis Presley the King in 1957. It gets no bigger and no better. Thanks a lot for dropping by today. Have a good one. We'll see you again soon. Bye-bye.